Welcome into the Alabama CPA podcast. It's January 21st, another special edition coming today because our HB 59 Pathways to CPA Act is moving fast, and we're getting a really good response from everyone we've talked to, and it got through the Senate committee today with a lot of help from a lot of people, and so that's Senator Lance Bell's committee, and he and others on that committee heard it from Representative Underwood, and we were able to get it through their committee, and we are hopeful that it gets on the Senate floor tomorrow. So I wanted to bring everybody up to speed on that and how excited we are for that. Janine Birmingham from the State Society and Boyd Busby from the State Board of Public Accounts joined us today during the committee hearing just to come in support of it, while Representative Kerry Underwood presented to the committee and it passed. So lots of good news, and so far, not a lot of tax bills getting put together. There's a couple of bills that are working their way through, in the 2026 session. Seems to be the year of the oyster, but there's some tax credit bills related to recycling oyster shells and others for some exemptions for the sales of certain fishes in certain situations. So a lot of Gulf Coast related sales exemptions are trying to work their way through the legislature, but again, some of the major tax legislation that we anticipate seeing may not come for a couple of weeks, and we'll keep you up to date on that. Now, I'm pleased to have been joined today. I recorded earlier a segment with Representative Kerry Underwood, and it's great to sort of get his perspective on the Pathways to CPA Act, and also to get to know Bubba a little bit more, and some funny stories that go along with that. So I hope you'll stick around. This is Representative Kerry Underwood joining me here on the Alabama CPA podcast. Welcome back to the Alabama CPA podcast. I am Rob Pearson, your host, and we have a special report from the Alabama State House today. This is Wednesday, the 21st of January in 2026, and we just completed day 5 of the 30-day legislative session in 2026, and I am happy to be joined by none other than Kerry Bubba Underwood, representative from District 3 in Tuscumbia, and an active CPA, and we've talked about you a lot on our podcast.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know if you know that or not.
I don't.
But most of it's good.
Yeah, that's better than my average.
So we appreciate your time. Let's get right into it. Today is another step in the life of the Pathways to CPA Act. We've gotten through the House, and so far we have now gotten through a Senate committee, and we have one step left before the bill gets placed on the governor's desk, and we have you to thank for that.
Well, the work on the bill was done prior to me. You and Janine and Boyd, y'all have really put some time into this thing, and it has been a joy for me to represent my profession in this piece of legislation. We represent all aspects of what's happening in the state, but when I get to be a part of something that affects my profession that's so well thought of by everybody in this state and the country, it's been a joy. So I appreciate all the work you put into it, and all I had to do was just carry it. That was the easy part compared to the work done prior.
Well, when I'm playing cards, I like to say that I'm a better card player when I get good cards.
Yeah, true.
And this is a good bill, right?
It's a good bill. It's a good bill.
And I think it's something supported by every CPA I've talked to anyway, and we certainly couldn't do it without your support.
Well, it was interesting in the Senate committee today. Some of the conversation from the committee members was it seems like you're too restrictive on how people are able to, get their certificate. You education and your past exam, and then the experience prior to
the 3 E's.
Yeah,
we all know.
Right, the 3 E's. But that's why we're so good at what we do. We're not going to put anybody in the field as a certified public accountant without them having both the education requirements and the experience. And so I was proud to stand and say, no, this is how our profession does things. And we're actually making it a little bit better, with this bill. We're putting people where they can get into the field quicker, which actually was the way it was when I passed the exam. Mm-hmm. And we've gone back to that while still offering the other. So, we've got the best of both worlds with this bill. I was proud of the conversations today in the Senate.
A lot of the bill relates to taking the experience requirement, and no, it's correction, the education requirement, and taking it out of statute and putting it in the rules.
Right.
And now you've said it a couple of times in public that we have a really good board.
Yes.
And so that board be responsible for coming up with those rules, which you and I both know that are going to include the bachelor's degree plus 2 years of experience.
Right.
Could you speak to that? Because and I know I don't want to put you in a tight here
okay.
because you serve on the Sunset Committee. You see a lot of boards.
Yes.
And so but ours is pretty good.
Yes, I do not mind to speak about this at all. We every board that operates, just a little background, every board that operates in the state of Alabama has to come before the Sunset Committee at least every 4 years. Justify their existence, and we make sure that they're following, number one, the letter of the law, and number two, that they are being efficient with their money, and they're not either misusing or hoarding their money. You know, it needs to circulate. And so we have seen many infractions of people, board members, not following the law and not spending their money wisely. This board sets the standard, and I'm not just saying that because I am a CPA. I'm saying that because of what I've actually seen. This board sets the standard for others. So when I come before any committee and say, I want the State Board of Public Accountancy to, as endorsed by the state side of CPAs, to be able to have the flexibility and the quickness to set a rule and change how their licensees interact, then it is well received because of how well the board has performed. There are other boards in this state that have done opposite of that, and we have severely restricted them with statute because of that. This board is opposite, and I don't think we have to be across the board with how we handle these folks. I think we reward people in boards based on their experience, and the CPA board is a standard setter in the state of Alabama, and I would say nationwide in how they perform.
They are active in NASBA and other organizations nationwide,
right.
and as leaders, Boyd Busby, the executive director, does a great job with that, but so does the current chairman, Steve Smith, and others who have come before him as chairman of those boards. And so thank you for sort of sharing that. And from a legislator's point of view, the confidence you have that if it comes from their perspective, you have again, we're supposed to be the world's most trusted profession.
Right.
We are,
right.
and we're supposed to act like it, right?
Right.
And so
right.
I know, because I want to kind of shift a little bit with you as a CPA in the legislature. The only active one, there's now two currently inactive, or one retired and one inactive CPA now in the House. That's Danny Garrett, who's retired, and now Norman Crow, who's joined us from Tuscaloosa, who's inactive. But I have found when you walk in the door, representing the world's most trusted profession has its advantages.
Oh, you are so right.
And certainly your door knocks all the time because people need your help and advice, including on the General Fund Budget Committee, because you're a CPA.
Yeah, that's correct. And there are some bills that are carried by other people, but the sponsor of the bill wants to loop me in on the conversations to make sure that things look right. And should any questions come to them in committee that they're not able to answer, you know, will somebody in our profession, myself or otherwise, be there to answer the questions for them. So it is. I tell you, to have influence as a member of the House, you need to show yourself to be reliable and to be someone who, when the opportunity arises, you can make a difference in something. You know, to be a contributor, and it with our profession as coming in the room before I do, because of CPAs, that's not quite the case in full because of the profession itself. It's really paved a wide path for me to be able to be on other committees and to advance in certain rooms just because of the fact that I come in as a standing CPA and the respect that comes with that, because it does come with it.
Well, the time of year that session happens coincides with something they call tax season.
Yes.
How in the world? Well, first of all, why did you get into this mess? And second of all, how do you do it and maintain some sense of sanity and you know, occasionally get to see Anna?
Yes,
for example.
Anna, my wife. Yes.
Yeah.
So you know, you get into it and you think, it won't be that bad. You know, it won't be that bad. But I tell you, by the end of the session, I'm limping, you know, and and quit shaving, and he's
Right.
just. So we're here 3 days. So here's the rundown of the schedule. I get down here early on Tuesday, so we're in session Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get home Thursday evening, and I'll have some dinner, and I'll go to work at the office, CPA office, and then I'll work in the CPA office on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Probably 20-hour days, just to get it in, and then go back to session on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really just a committal for 10 weeks. You just got to get through it.
They're the worst 10 weeks, though.
Through the worst 10 weeks. It's a double commitment for 10 weeks.
Right.
But there is, you just know where you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think you know what I mean by that.
Sure.
You've
Absolutely.
had a change. And when you're where you're supposed to be, there's a level of satisfaction that the amount of workload and stress can't overcome it.
Yeah.
It's just too satisfying where you're at, and I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and all that comes with it. It's okay.
Well, tomorrow could be a big day for the state
Yes.
state CPAs. If it gets to the Senate tomorrow on the floor, then it goes to the governor's desk, and we're very excited about that possibility. Couldn't get there without you. Kind of go back. You're in your fourth year,
Right.
and go back to the first bill that you passed. What was that feeling like?
Our profession prepares, right?
Yeah. That's
So I had listened to the things you're supposed to say, the cadence in the well.
Mhm.
You have to present your bill, you have to ask for the BIR if the budget isn't passed, and then so I had written it down
Mhm.
so that I'd have it, knowing that questions would come that then you're off script. So I had made my script out, and I don't know if we've told this story before, but kind of got blown up. They're supposed to haze you if it's your first bill, and the speaker inadvertently hazed me because this thing just happens, sometimes, and he referred to me as Representative Underwear by accident, and so it just blew the house up. The house just shut down with laughter, and you don't step on it, right? You got to let it go. You got to let them enjoy the moment. And
Yeah.
I get it. I'm being hazed. I don't know if he did that on purpose, but I went up and gave him a fist bump so he'd know we're all good, and came in and presented my bill. And here's what that did for me. As freshmen, there was 32 of us, I think. Well, nobody knows us, right? We're trying to be relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was famous on the first day because I was Representative Underwear. So he did me the best of favors by that, and I wore it proudly.
Sure. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, and so when you get in the well, sometimes unpredictable things happen. Fortunately, with our bill, it really didn't, except for this is such a great bill, you just failed to vote for it.
You're right. Yeah. So let's explain that. Let me explain that. So you can't vote when you're in the well, and the well is the speaker, right? It's where the mics are, where the two people are debating, and so you can't vote because you're down there. And so I had somebody that was going to vote for me, and they got so tickled with some conversation that they forgot to push the button. And I remember the way it works is the speaker calls for the vote,
Right.
and then after a certain amount of time, he'll stop. He'll say,
Lock the machine.
Lock the machine, count the votes. And right before I could tell it was time for that. And I turned around and said, I'd like to vote for my bill, but he called for the vote. And so my name showed as white letters because that means I abstained from voting for my own bill. So when things like that happen, you go to the clerk, clerk of the house, which I did, and I said, I need you to register. And he said, we've already got you, Mr. Underwood, don't worry about it. So yeah, I inadvertently did not vote for this bill, which is such a great bill. So anybody that was watching, just know that that was a mistake, not by intent.
Well, he doesn't make many mistakes. So Representative Underwood, thank you again for your time, and good luck this tax season. You and I are going to talk several times
I want to.
on this podcast.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of things coming down the pipe for tax wise and other things. So look, it's going to be a good session, and we'll get you back home and get your taxes done, get you reelected.
Yes, sir. Appreciate my time with you, Rob.
Hey, thank you. You've been listening to the Alabama CPA podcast.